G'day everyone, this is just a short video on just some advice on where you can start with building guitar pedals and what I think is probably the best place to start with. You've got a few options. You can do pretty much as much of the process as you want yourself, or you can skip certain bits that you're not too sure about or not too comfortable with, and then maybe on a second build you can tackle those things. So there's different parts of the building process along the way that you need to learn. And I'm sorry for the plug, but I'm going to give a shameless plug to my tutorial series. There's 8 videos and they go through start etching the board to painting the box, the whole box and dice, so to speak. But you don't have to do all those steps yourself. If you want to just learn some parts first and then pick the other stuff up later. So for instance, you don't have to etch a board. I'll just show you what an etched board looks like. Just a random one that I've picked out. Looks like a Mad Bean board. You don't have to etch your own boards. It's not that hard to do, but if you want to just fast track a bit, you don't have to do that, and you can actually just buy one of these boards from Mad Bean, or just have a look around on the forums. Some people etch boards and sell them, so you can just skip that part and it makes it a little bit easier. A fabricated board is easier to solder onto, generally speaking, than an etched board, because as you can see on an etched board, the only thing that separates the pinholes is a little bit of blank. No, there's no copper in between the pads, and it's very easy to make a solder bridge between those pads. On a fabricated board, generally you have a silk screen, not the silk screen, the solder mask over the top, and that will stop. It makes solder bridges harder to do. So if you're new, you're probably not going to be very good at soldering. So I would recommend getting a fabricated PCB to start off with. Unless you're keen on etching your own boards, by all means jump in and give it a shot. And I'll leave a link to my video on how to actually etch your own boards. But for a first build, if you're new to electronics, you're new to soldering, you're new to a whole lot of things, it might be a good idea to get a fabricated board from one of the sellers. I'm pretty sure Tone Pads are fabricated. Mad Bean, you know, look around for a fabricated board. It'd be much easier for you. I would highly not recommend using Vero. Vero is this stuff, and it's basically just strips of copper, and you have to work out where your components go on the circuit. You follow the circuit and you build the effect yourself piece by piece. I mean, obviously on something that I just showed you before like that, you can work out exactly where the components go. On something like this, you have to mentally, you know, like plan it on the board, and they can end up getting bigger than a small circuit can turn. You know, can end up being on a massive board if you're not experienced with Vero. Some people love Vero, and I've got nothing against Vero. I just don't think it's a very good choice for a beginner to start messing around with Vero. You can give it a shot, by all means. If you like jumping in the deep end for this stuff, you know, give it a shot. But if you're not that confident, I would highly recommend a fabricated board. The next one is the components and selecting your components. Again, this is all part of that tutorial series I was talking about. You can watch that, and if you're still not confident at the end of it, you can just skip this part as well, because you can buy a kit from somebody. I think Guitar PCB, I think that's one. I don't buy kits, so I'm not totally sure. Build Your Own Clone is a popular one, and I think General Guitar Gadgets have kits as well. And you will skip the steps of having to etch your own board, having to build your own, having to select and order your own components, and drilling the enclosure as well. I don't know if any actually have painted enclosures, but they do. Most of them have drilled enclosures, so you can skip all those 3 steps. You're still going to learn a lot, because you're going to be soldering everything onto the PCB, so it'll give you a introduction to the electronic components, and you're also going to be wiring it up as well. So you will learn some things. You won't learn as much as if you do the whole process yourself from start to end, but you'll still learn a lot of useful things. It'll also give you practice for soldering as well. So the next step that you can skip, if you don't go down the kit path and you end up buying your own enclosure, you can skip having to paint the enclosure yourself. If you can buy pre-painted enclosures from a lot of the retailers. I've powder coated this one with like a candy blue color, which looks pretty cool. But you can buy translucent powder coated enclosures. Pedal Parts Plus has them, and Mammoth has them as well. And yeah, you can skip the part of having to finish the box yourself. If some people just don't like finishing, the finishing process. I tell you, I've got to be one of them. Even though I can come up with a result like that, it's a lot of hassle. If you can get someone for an extra couple of bucks to get someone to have it painted for you, you don't have to worry about finishing the box, and you can focus more on things like using the guitar pedal and modding it and things like that, as opposed to just how to spray the box. You know, some people don't find it that rewarding. I'm sort of on the fence with finishing. You know, I must admit, getting a pedal that looks like that at the other end of it's pretty rewarding. But yeah, anyway, for your first one, you might want to skip that step anyway. So buy your pre-painted enclosure. And also, I forgot to mention that you can get them pre-drilled as well. I think pretty much all the places I mentioned will actually drill them too, so you don't even have to drill them. You can skip that step too. So you're pretty much kind of ordering everything that you need and making almost your own kit when you do it that way. You're ordering all the parts, and you're putting together your own kit. Just make sure that when you do order electronic components, so that you order the right type. If it says a 1K logarithmic, make sure you get a 1K logarithmic pot, because if you get a linear, it's not going to behave the same. You'll end up having all the volume all bunched up one end, or the tone all bunched up one end, and it's just make sure you get the right values. Try and keep within sort of 5% of the values for the resistors and the capacitors as well. But yeah, like I said, if you order a kit, you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. It should all come with all the right components straight up. It's just a matter of pretty much assembling it, and you'll learn some good skills like how to wire up the box, identifying electronic components, soldering. You'll get a bit of experience with soldering as well, and then you can just learn whatever you missed, whatever parts of the process you've missed from taking a few shortcuts. Like the next time you do it, you might say, well, I won't buy a drilled enclosure. I'll try and set up my own drill press with, or borrow a drill press or whatever, and I'll drill it myself. And I'll learn that part. And so you've added that part to your repertoire. And then the next time you might go, well, I won't get a painted enclosure. I'll paint it myself. And the next time I won't get a fabricated PCB. I'll etch it myself. And then you add skills onto your repertoire, and that's pretty much what I did. I mean, I probably jumped in the deep end. I'll just grab the first pedal that I've built, which I have uploaded or will upload. I actually did a video on this to show you all the mistakes I made with it, but I probably jumped in the deep end with it because I used Vero, which I got to say almost turned me off building any more guitar pedals after I built that one, because I had so many issues, and they were all because of human error. There's just too much margin for error with Vero. Just don't use it for your first pedal. I know it's easy to get a piece of Vero and start whacking components in. It's much easier than etching it, but trust me, you're better off getting a fabricated PCB, an etched PCB, or etching your own PCB than trying to use Vero. It will turn you off building another guitar pedal. It's such a nightmare for a new builder to use Vero. If you're an experienced builder, I mean, like I said, some experienced builders have built the most complicated pedals on Vero, and they work perfectly and they don't have any issues with it. But these guys have been doing it for a very long time. So for your first pedal, don't use Vero. So yeah, that was my first build. I used Vero, I painted the enclosure myself, I drilled the enclosure myself, I bought my own components, and it's riddled with issues. This pedal's got heaps of issues. As I've explained in another video that's I've already uploaded or I will upload. Yeah, it's part of the learning curve though. I learned heaps off off building this pedal. I learned a lot of stuff. So you know, you can either just jump in the deep end and go for the whole thing, or you know, cut some corners. Like I said, just you know, order a kit, order a fabricated PCB, order pre-painted drilled enclosures. You know, all that sort of stuff. So I hope that gives you an idea of a place where you can start. Whatever you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable doing a lot of this stuff yourself, etching boards and all that sort of business, you don't have to. Just go and get a kit and start with that. You know, and just add one more skill as you go along: the drilling, the painting, like I said. But yeah, it's a very addictive hobby. But the thing I like about it most is that once you get the basic idea of what's going on, you can pretty much go down different paths. You can either become more like a manufacturer, where you focus on the construction of pedals and how you're how to make a better made guitar pedal, or you can focus on designing effects and electronics. You can focus on finishing guitar pedals. I've seen some people that do some enclosures that look like works of art. They're just so good. They look the aesthetics of it are just unbelievable. You know, like things I've never even thought of that they're coming up with. It's just amazing. You know, there's a lot of different streams that you can go down, and you often find it with the more experienced builders, myself included. I have strengths and I have weaknesses, and I've focused on certain areas and I haven't focused on other areas. But that's what I like the best about it. You know, like. If I've got a weakness, I start focusing on it and trying to get better at it. Like the finishing, when I started, I was really poor at finishing, and now I'm getting better at it. You know, there's lots of different streams that you can work on. So anyway, hope that helped, and good luck with your first guitar pedal. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more guitar pedal videos. I've got loads on my channel. Check it out, and I hope they help. Thanks for watching.